What was with the Famicom in 1989 and 19th century comic novels? There's 6 games like that by my count, and Gozonji Yaji Douchuu might be the most obscure of them. The book's story is the travels of Yaji and Kita on the Tokaido Road between Edo and Kyoto. There are 2 dim-witted city dwellers who keep getting into trouble with the country folk they bump up against. And Yaji and Kita are pretty well known as cultural figures in Japan. While there's been many adaptations of their story, the adaptations really don't stick to the book, though the common elements are inevitably Yaji, Kita, and the road. And that's the case with Hal's adaptation here. The game's divided up into 6 chapters, each one consisting of its own misadventure for the duo. Now I know adventure games aren't the best mesh for my format, and I think Yaji Kita Douchuu might be one of the worst ones in that respect. It's a very long game. I only got to about the middle of the 3rd chapter in the hour I could play. And the visuals are some of the least dynamic that we've seen out of an adventure game in a while. Famicom adventure games are always driven by the text, but this one seems to be especially heavy. So the visuals here aren't going to be much to look at. And even the comedy seems to mainly be in the interplay between Yaji and Kita, so it's really hard for me to judge that. These long comedic dialogues are really the point of the game, and if I sat down and tried to work my way through them, I might have gotten about 2 or 3 scenes into it. The game uses a familiar pick-a-verb interface that so many Famicom adventure games have. This is one of those games where the list is pared down to things that can only do something at that time. So if you get stuck, you should be able to power through it. Though sometimes it does get a little bit meta with the adventure. Like here, you have to back out of the command in order to advance. Those moments are pretty rare though. The first chapter has you assisting an old man who gets mugged, and the second chapter is a Romeo and Juliet story. The 3rd chapter has you fighting Nobunaga's ghost. One thing you'll spot as you go through the game is that there's a lot of comedic anachronisms here. I guess the thought of somebody having a jet ski during the Edo period is inherently funny. The manual game presents things as a bit of a travel guide for the Tokaido Road, with points of interest and sights to see on your trip. Not that you ever get to see any of the views that it tells you to check out. Japanese Famicom fans don't seem to have a lot of fondness for Gozonji Yaji Kita Douchuu. It's kind of the weird middle child of HAL Laboratories' 8-bit adventure games. Squeezed in between one of the best murder mysteries on the Famicom and a cult favorite that killed the company. This is a game that seems to be mainly met with a resounding and I can't really disagree with that assessment. It seems to be fine, but I also didn't find anything that made it stand out.